Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you for your fully charged Puffco Peak Pro dab of the day. We're going to be using King's Garden Diamonds, and the strain is going to be Ghost OG. Today is Friday. Hello, everybody. Unfortunately, many people don't like themselves. More unfortunately, many people hate themselves. So today's topic is why? And what do we do? What do you do when you don't like yourself? That's a good question, right? Well, I'm a big contender in the self-hatred stakes. So what do you do when you don't like yourself? My feelings of self-loathing that pop up any old time originated in my childhood. My parents were critical of me. They were very rarely kind words, especially from my father. So the early programming has certainly made liking and accepting myself much more difficult for me. I mean, if your own parents don't seem to love you, who else is going to care? When you don't like yourself, life becomes much more complicated. Every action is loaded with self-doubt and an underlying critical voice telling me that I'm not good enough. Well, wait a second. Does that sound familiar? Yep. It's one of the most common things out there. People don't feel they're good enough. We all seem to have an internal bully that constantly berates us and tells us regularly how we lack in so many ways. The inner bully seems able to drown out all the softer voices telling us that actually we're great, fine, and that we're wonderful. So why do we even entertain notions of self-hatred? It certainly isn't helpful, and if anything, it leaves us worse, feeling miserable and disillusioned. The inner bully may be connected somehow to our instinctual need to survive and be accepted in society. Evolutionary psychologists proposed that we are by default programmed to be negative and watch out for danger. Think about the fear and flight of the cavemen. Because danger is a threat, and that's how we survived in early days. Well, the inner bully may be still wearing loincloths and carrying spears, but we've got to defeat it. So whatever the reason for self-hatred, and frankly, there is no clear purpose for self-hatred, apart from possibly motivating people to be better. But think of it. Why would you want to hate yourself out of choice? So even though I believe in some ways it's a choice, it's not a conscious choice, I don't think, to think negatively about oneself and to think about how long we focused on self-hatred. So we've got to be aware of that inner bully. That's right, it's a fact. I'm ugly, I'm fat, I'm useless. Well, it's a bully parrot because it keeps going and it keeps going and it keeps going. So when you catch yourself being critical, say to yourself maybe, there goes that parrot again, and try to distract yourself and understand that when you pay the bully attention, when you pay the inner bully attention, you're going to feed the neurosis that makes you feel like you're worthless. So we have to accept it and try to ignore it. Remember something. It's only powerful if you believe what it tells you, that inner bully. So focus on our positive characteristics. What do we like about ourselves? There's got to be something that makes you feel good. Think about it. So find an inner landscape for yourself. And it's not automatic. Maybe write it down. But what you're going to do, basically, is prime yourself. You're going to prime your neural pathways for a more positive dialogue with yourself. It's a reminder that when you feel low and you're filled with self-doubt, focus on a positive that you know you've got. And challenge the self-doubt. That's right. Self-doubt makes people stop moving forward. It keeps them loathing things. And unfortunately, self-doubt is thriving around the world, and it's not going to be stopped in a hurry. But accepting self-doubt and a loosening of self-doubt is what you want to try. What you want to try is you want to try to accept self-doubt as part of life. It's not going to take you into the trap. It's only going to empower your fears if you listen to it. So when you feel like giving up because self-doubt is overwhelming, which it is for us many times, remind yourself of all your past triumphs. Remind yourself how many times you got in from the windowsill, fingernails on the windowsill, in that window. Remind yourself that we live in cyclical living, that when you come over the top, you get hope and opportunity. Remind yourself. Think of it as your own individual support group. You're surrounding yourself with a like-minded person, you, because it's all about revising your version of failure. Think about failure for a moment. What does it mean to us? Well, whatever it means, it's going to mean something different to you than it does to me, etc., etc. But we judge ourselves much more harshly than we judge others. Our failure may not be a failure at all. Think about it. To me, failure's giving up. Failure's not trying to get those fingernails out there. So you got to reframe what failure is. Think about it. And think about all the different things you tried and don't work. But you've tried. And think about how your perception of reality is so strong. And you keep telling yourself, it's not working. I can do better. You don't have to beat yourself up about things that go wrong. And you definitely don't have to turn the negativity of bad things further inward. Somehow we need to find a way to use the energy to propel us forward. And never, ever direct the negative energy towards ourselves in terms of self-hatred. It's not helpful. Treat ourselves instead with kindness and compassion. Look after ourselves as you would a dear friend or family member. Remember, we're all dealing with our inner bully every single day on a daily basis. Don't allow it to have power over you. Acknowledge your inner bully's presence, but don't let it rule you. If you enjoyed today's discussion, please subscribe to the Senior Stoner YouTube channel. Please send me your comments. I love to reply to all of them. But think about it. Think about how we go through our lives, our days sometimes, disliking ourselves. Talk about counterproductive. So, nothing like this gets fixed in a day, in an instant. But what if we take little steps at a time, little steps at a time, to bring ourselves to a position where we can say to ourselves every time the little head rears itself, telling us we're ugly, we're fat, we're no good, we're lazy. You go back to that thing and say, that's bullshit, pardon my language, that's bullshit. I'm sick, I'm not lazy, I have pain, I'm not good for nothing. Everybody has the ability to go toe to toe, thing to thing, with everything you think you hate yourself about. Find something to talk about that you love yourself. This has been the Real Senior Stoner, talking about reasons that people dislike themselves and how we can overcome it. Cheers, everybody, and have a great day out there. And let's remember to like ourselves. Cheers.